Good morning. This is Matt Abrams. We're going to talk about the 3 best medical device companies to start your career. And just understand, what you want from a career is probably different in the beginning to the middle to the end. But I want to talk about 3 companies where I would start my career in medical devices if I had to go back in time. Now, why medical devices? I love the impact I make on patients. I work with physicians. I go into the OR or cath lab. I scrub in. I have a huge impact on patient outcomes, and that's something you would not get in any other field outside of patient care. Some people come in for the money, right? Yeah, the money's good. That's not my reason, but that is important to talk about. You could have a really great life from a commission and salary perspective in medical device. The freedom, the ability to do sales, the constant drive, the ability to be on the forefront of technology. In the spaces I've been in, we're doing new devices, new clinical trials, first in person, and that's really exciting. That is really special. The medical device field, there's many different ways to take your career, but I think it's an amazing field if you want to help and have patient interaction, but also use that business and sales sense. Now, I want to talk about 3 medical device companies, and I'm going to provide a lot of reasons of why I think they're a good place to start. There's no wrong answer. If you want to get into medical devices, take any opportunity you can, because it can be really hard to break in. And when I speak about these companies, I want to acknowledge that there's geographical differences. There's hiring manager differences. So the cultures at these companies are great, but it really depends on the team you're joining and the local culture that's set. So I'm going to speak in generalities about these companies, and they apply, but just remember the team you're joining can create a really awesome workplace. Contrary, it can be toxic as well. So before I break in and talk about 3 medical device companies, I want to talk about the backgrounds people are looking for, the hiring managers. And the processes are different across companies and states and territories, but in general, they're looking for people with a clinical background, B2B background, or healthcare sales background. But at the end of the day, it depends on selling your story and conveying your why. So if you don't have a clinical background, find a way to convey how you can learn that or something you did in the past to show that. If you don't have sales background, and truthfully, everything is sales. So find a way to list 3 things to show your sales aptitude, right? Hiring managers look for different things. If it's a senior sales rep role, they're going to look for someone with experience and documented success. But the associate TM roles, the clinical specialist roles, you really need to convey your why and your grit and that you're going to do well in this role. It's a gamble for a hiring manager to take on someone, right? It's expensive from training. It's a risk. If they don't pan out, you're back at square one. It's tough. So really convey your why and network with the team to make sure you're a good fit and that they know that you're a good fit. Now, what to look for in a medical device company? There's a lot of things. The size, the product, the quality, the clinical research, the leaders, all these different things. And that's important. But in the beginning, you're just trying to break in. So career growth is important, but more so how they set you up for success. So I want to talk about 3 companies. First, give me a drum roll. It's hard to do this because I work for them, but I'm going to go with Medtronic for the number 1 company. I'm not ranking them. I'm just saying the first company that I would love to start my career at is Medtronic. And the reason is the clinical and sales training that they provide you. Why is that important? Well, it sets you up for success. It sets you up to do well in surgery. And there's a difference. Clinical training will be understanding the product and the clinical state. And then sales training will be more so the communication and working with physicians and how to grow the business. Both are really important. It starts with the clinical foundation and then grow your sales, right? When you have Medtronic on your resume, people outside of Medtronic know what the sales training looks like. They know what the clinical training is because it's top notch. Medtronic really prepares you. You're not getting sent out to do sales in a week. The process, depending on the product, could be 3, 6, 9, 12 months until you're signed off to go make an impact. So that's why these hiring managers are really reluctant to do a quick offer, because it's a process. Some of the more advanced products, pacemakers, TAVR, all these take years to be good at and to drive business growth. So Medtronic I like for the training and foundation they give you, and I also like how much quality and regulatory goes into their products, because when I sell a Medtronic device, it goes both ways. I know it's very well studied, But what can be frustrating is sometimes the innovation behind Medtronic is a little bit slower because they have so many hurdles to get through from a quality perspective that we aren't always as delivering as fast. And now Medtronic is expedient. But we know that there's a lot of quality. So physicians, when they see Medtronic, they're like, yes, we trust Medtronic because of their track record. And that's not to say, all medical device companies are at issues of recall or whatnot, but Medtronic does a really good job of quality before releasing and surveilling. So if there is any issue, the physicians and their patients will know as soon as possible. The second company, I was waiting for a guess. I'm going with Boston Scientific, and this is a familiar company along with Medtronic. It's a massive company. Medtronic is one of the largest medical device companies, and Boston is right up there, even possibly larger with the revenue and the devices in the cardiac space. They dominate. And the reason I like Boston is, they got a good training, and they also offer a lot of career opportunity internally and internationally. But what I like about them is they're a pure sales company. They value the rep in the field personnel for what they do to help patients and drive the business of the company. So they have sales leaders, and a lot of their leadership top down understands the importance of the field and relationships. I really like that. Relationships drive the business. Don't let anyone ever tell you that relationships don't matter. It's you, your brand, and your relationships you bring to drive business, right? Everything else will come after. I like Boston because they are doing a lot of exciting things. They've done well in PCI and stent, but what they're really blowing it out right now is with their Watchman, which is LAOO, and their PFA ablation. They're positioned to do really well and grow. And it's funny, when I started my career at Medtronic, I remember going into cath labs, and they'll be like, we're a Boston lab. I'm like, what is Boston, Massachusetts? What do you mean? And what they meant was some of the old-time legendary sales reps from Boston launched those accounts, and be it the coronary side, the peripheral side, you would have Boston posters everywhere, but they remember who came in and helped grow and launch those programs. Secondly, Boston does a really good job across portfolios. They do a good job of helping and partnering with hospitals to create partnerships between the pacemaker division, the coronary stents, the peripheral stents, and so on, so that the whole hospital can benefit from their really strong product line. So, second company, Boston Scientific. The third company, after some major changes in the med device space with acquisitions, is going to be Shockwave. They recently were purchased by Johnson & Johnson, 12 months, and that's huge. But what I like about Shockwave as that business unit and the standalone company was the innovation that company was bringing to the cardiac and peripheral space. They, again, have a strong training, but in those roles, you're calling on so many hospitals and physicians that you're going to grow your book of business and become really valuable with your relationships. Their product is changing the algorithm of how coronary and peripheral disease is treated, and that could be challenging because they're paving a new road for treatment with their IVL balloons. And we could go in how cool that is. I don't want to go into the details, but what they're doing is they're changing the algorithm of treatment. They have a very differentiated product, and right now there's not much competition. There's a couple companies, startups, but they're dominating the market. They're innovative, and they're growing really fast. And some of the best leaders in med device are going over there because they see the potential. And what comes with innovation is, if you're a top dog and you're hungry, is you're delivering new products quarterly, yearly, new indications, announcing new reimbursements, and that's a lot. That's a lot to handle. But you want to be in that position, being the lead dog with new products instead of selling the old stale product, right? So I really like Shockwave because of the innovation, the leadership, what they're doing for the med device space, and now they have the backing of J&J, one of the largest medical and healthcare companies, which presents a lot of internal opportunities. Shockwave standalone, fantastic. Now with the backing of J&J, it doesn't have that middle, small startup feel, but it gives you a lot of protection and a lot of ways to grow your career. J&J does well in ablation, EP, neuro, and so many ways to take your talents and grow with that company. So, we talked about the three companies I want to start at, but you need to make the decision for yourself. So my call of action is do the research, network with people at these companies, and have a really good understanding of the company culture and the product. And how do you get one of these offers, one of these top three offers? That's tough. I'm not going to talk about your resume. There's a lot of ways to do your resume. You could do ChatGPT, you could put the time in, you could hire someone. I'm not going to tell you to dress up. That makes sense. For any interview, dress up. Wear a suit and tie or dress. Anytime you meet with someone at these companies, treat it as an interview. Oh, hey, we're going to do a ride-along with one of the clinical specialists. That's not a ride-along. That's a ride-along interview, right? My biggest recommendation and my biggest call of action is network. You need to differentiate your resume and get a referral or someone to vouch for you. That's going to make you get the opportunity to interview. If you're not getting interviews, you're not networking, you're not connecting. If you're getting interviews and you're not getting an offer, let's review what's happening in those interviews and do some interview prep, right? It's easy. And when I say it's easy, I don't want to undermine how arduous it is to get into medical device, but understanding and prepping and setting goals, we can do. We can put in the effort. Now, if you have any questions, hit them in the comments. I'll answer. You can reach out to me directly. I'm really excited about the med device space. It's growing. It's one of the few opportunities where you could have patient care and patient access. It's seriously been, for me, 10 years. Quality of life has been amazing. Compensation has been amazing, but more so the fulfillment. It's the best job I've ever had. So if anyone's interested in breaking into medical devices, reach out. Here's my top 3 companies. This is it for Medical Device Matt. Stay tuned. We're trying to do weekly videos. It's a bit of a challenge when you have a full-time job, but I'm trying to do really helpful videos. Your feedback is really important. Any questions for this specific topic today or future videos, let me know. Stay tuned. I'll see you at the hospital. I'll see you in the field. Let's do it.